right side of the masjid will be for the sisters. So if you want to come, feel comfortable, or if you want to turn the lights on the area, whatever you guys feel comfortable with, feel free to do. You can come join us in the hall here if you want. Yeah, you good. Yeah. You good. There's nobody came yet, so you guys. بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه بعد. Last week we were talking about the tayammum and the rules of a tayammum. And a tayammum, it means to use the soil as a replacement for the water when you are unable to use water due to sickness, or to use the shortage of water, or due to very expensive to buy it, whatever prevent you from using the water. In this case, you are allowed to use basically the soil and to take it as a replacement for the water. And we said that's something Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed it for the Muslims. And this is one of the special quality of this ummah, that they can use soil as a form of purification instead of water. Al-ulama rahimahumullah agreed that if someone needed tayammum to use the soil instead of water, and he was eligible for it, then he or she found water before they start the act of worship, before they start the salah. Okay? All the scholars said, in this case, you're not allowed to engage in this salah with tayammum. So you're about to pray and you find water. In this case, we say, you know what? All the scholars said, in a case like this, you must, in a case like this, don't start the salah, and you go and you make wudu. But if you start the salah and the water comes, if you started the salah and you find the water, al-ulama rahimahullah have two opinions. The majority said you break the salah and you go do tayammum. And some said no, you finish your salah because you started the salah with a valid purification. And that's the opinion that I take. And I believe it's a stronger opinion. Because at-tayammum have removed the hadith, have put you in a state of purification where you can pray. The same thing, let's say you finish the salah at dhuhr time, and there is still 1 hour for asr, then you find the water. Do you need to pray dhuhr? No, you don't. طيب. What if the water is hard to get? It's not impossible, hard to get. What hard to get means? You down the mountain to climb, or let's say you are sick in bed. And you know what? It's a big deal for you to go to the bathroom and to use the water. It's not, there is mashaqqa, there is any hardship in it. We say it doesn't matter. Even if there is mashaqqa, you still have to get the water. Let's say it's in a place, a distance, you have to drive for it. We say if you can, you have to do it. That's not an excuse. Tab, I'm in my bed. If the doctor said it's not safe for you to move from your bed, and by the way, when we say the doctor said it's not safe, it means two things. Number one, it can cause a permanent damage to you, okay? Or unbearable pain, even if it's temporary, or very severe pain, or it will delay your healing. Because sometimes it will not make a permanent, but it delay your healing. We said in this case, you take the doctor's recommendations. Same thing with fasting. Anything like this, we say, if the doctor said, do it, and if that means you break some of the rules in Islam, we have to look that number one, it's put your life in danger, or it will endanger the use of your, it will basically affect the functionality of your body. If it's going to cause any disturbing in the functionality of your body part, in this case you say don't do it. You're excused from it. Or it will delay your healing. We say, let's say my back hurts, but you know, if I'm making ruku' and sujood, I'm not going to break my back. I'm not going to paralyze. But I might basically take very long time for my healing to come. We say, no, you can pray sitting until you'll be able to do it. But in case in tayammum, no, you can do it because there is other alternative. For example, you can get a bowl and you can put water in it, and he's not taking a shower, just a little bit of water. Remember, we did the wudu here with a half a cup of water. So it doesn't need to be, it's not a big deal to do it. Also, one of the and one of the reasons we say you don't need to repeat the salah, Abu Dawood rahimahullah ta'ala reported in his Sunan, two people, they made tayammum and they prayed. Okay? And after they prayed, they found water. And it's still on the time. So one of them did not repeat the salah. And the other one made wudu and repeated the salah. So in Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when he was told by them about what they did, he said to the one who did not repeat the salah, he said, Amma ant asabta sunnah. You have done the sunnah, the right thing. As for you, the one who prayed twice, قال فلك الأجر مرتين. You have double reward. Question. So which one is correct? The one who repeated the salah or the one who didn't repeat the salah? The one who didn't. Because the Nabi said, you have done the sunnah. So how come the one who does the sunnah, one reward, and the one who didn't do the sunnah get two double reward? No, if you do things right, you get more ajr reward, or if you get things wrong. But he got it right. Is ignorant. Type ignorance double your reward? What do you mean intention? The answer for this, the one who didn't pray the sunnah, he didn't repeat the salah. He didn't repeat the salah because he knows that this is the right thing or this is his best guess. That was ijtihad, his guess. You see what I'm saying? Okay? And for the person who guessed it and he got it wrong, okay, he got it wrong. That's why he got basically, he got it wrong. He guessed it and he got it wrong. So if somebody would tell me, Sheikh, didn't the Prophet ﷺ said, if you guessed something and you got it right, you take two rewards. And if you get it wrong, you get one reward. So how this hadith basically reconciliated with this hadith? The answer for this is simple. The Prophet ﷺ said, if you make ijtihad, if you guess something based on your best ability, best knowledge, and you got it right, and you do it, you get it right, you take double reward. And if you get it wrong, you get what? One reward. Question. Those people, the one who repeated the salah and the one who didn't repeat the salah, okay, both are guessed. So the one who guessed it will take actually a double reward for the salah. Okay? And he is correct. That's why the Prophet, you are upon the sunnah. And for the other person who repeated the salah, if you notice, he did the action twice. The hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that I just earlier mentioned, he said, if both done something, one thing, and he was wrong, he get double reward for his you take one reward for his ijtihad. Yani he will reward for his guessing. So why this incident? He got two because he repeated the salah twice. He prayed first time, then he prayed again. So he got one for the first and one for the second. You see what I'm saying? While the person who did only one salah, he didn't repeat it, his ajr is more than the one who did two prayers because he did it correct from the first time. Is that clear? No? So don't worry about it. The Prophet said, to the one who didn't pray the salah, you have done the right thing. And the one who tried and failed, he tried, but he didn't do the right thing. He prayed twice. He cares so much about the salah, so he prayed twice. The Prophet said, don't worry, you will be rewarded twice for your actions. Okay? Not because his ijtihad is better, no, because he prayed twice. That's why there is a double for him. Today, can I say I will double my prayer so I can double reward? No. Because, let's say you say, I'm going to pray Dhuhr twice so I get double reward. No, you can't do that. Because you know that your salah, the first one was correct. And you know that the man, when he prayed the first salah and he found the water later on, he thought that his previous salah is invalid. That's why he prayed again. طيب. I think the big question here is, when I say soil, can you do tayammum with anything, or it has to be a specific type of soil? And in other words, the ulama rahimahullah said, tayammum must be done with dust, something has a dusty thing. Or it can be something solid and flat like this. Can I just do like this on my clothes? I don't have a dusty clothes. I don't have, can you do that? Can I just hit the carpet? Can I just go to a rock and hit the rock and make tayammum from it? Or it has to be something that when I hit it, it will produce dust. And that dust that will stuck in my hand, that's what I make tayammum with. That's basically the question. The first opinion, is multiple opinions. The first opinion, which is Ash-Shafi'i rahimahullah and Ahmad and Imam Ahmad rahimahullah and Dawood al-Zahiri, they said it has to have a dust. When you make tayammum, you have to have a dust. So the Shafi'i, the Hanbali said, you have to have something that will produce dust. So that was why you cannot just hit a rock, or let's hit cloth, or the carpet. They said it will not be considered valid. Why? They said because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَامْسَحُوا بِوُجُوهِكُمْ وَأَيْدِيكُمْ مِنْهُ. You have to wipe your face and your hand from it. So if it doesn't produce anything, you cannot say linguistically from it. Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said if you couldn't find water, you go to a soil and you basically hit it and you wipe your face and your hand from it. So that means if it's rock, you didn't take the rock and you do like this to call from it. You don't take the carpet and you wipe your face on the carpet. You don't do that. So that means there is something you can take from it that you use to wipe your face and your hand. That's what the Shafi'i and the Imam Ahmad rahimahullah looked at this verse. Okay. Also they said, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that وَجُعِلَتْ لَنَا الْأَرْضُ مَسْجِدًا وَطَهُورًا وَجُعِلَ تُرَابُهَا, that the sand and the dust of the earth is made for us a mean of purification. So he said the dust of it in one of the narrations. The other opinion, which is, by the way, the vast majority of the scholars, number-wise, if you want to say, the Maliki, the Hanafi, so many of the Hanbalis as well, they said actually no. Anything that is part of this earth, on this earth, you can use it for tayammum. even if it's a snow, even if it's an ice, frozen ice. There is no dust at all, frozen ice. قالوا لو الثلج. You can use it for tayammum. Even if it is a tree. You go do like this to the tree, become a tree hugger. You just hug the tree and you have your hand on the tree, then you can basically, unless you have an allergy, Allah help you. So they said anything will be, the Hanafi is the one who mentioned the tree. Okay? So as long as it is connected to the earth, linked to the earth, it is allowed for you to do that. Why? They said because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yes, you, the Shafi'i and some of the Hanabila, when you guys said min, from it, but you forgot the beginning of the verse. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَتَيَمَّمُوا صَعِيدًا طَيِّبًا. Look at any pure area in the earth and use it. Allah said any pure area, any pure part of this earth. He did not limit it to any specific type of ground or soil. So if it is a dusty or non-dusty, is it a rock or is it sand or it's a mud, whatever it is, you can use it. Okay? Or from it. So this cloth originally goes back as a material, to the earth. The carpet, it's on the earth, the wall. So they said, and that's linguistically absolutely correct. And when we say from it, you seek the purification from it. It doesn't mean you take from it something to put it in your face. And they said, the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, the whole entire earth is a masjid and a purification. He said, the whole entire earth, جُعِلَتْ لِيَ الْأَرْض. So the whole earth is a place for me to seek purification from. And they said, as for the Prophet said, one narration said, and it's dust, وَتُرْبَتُهَا. It doesn't mean that it canceled the other hadith. No, it means because most of the earth, or most of the land, especially in the time of the Prophet, they're familiar with, it's a land which has dust in it, because they lived in the desert. Also, they said that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and this hadith important, في البخاري ومسلم, من حديث أبي الجهيم ibn al-Harith, Abu al-Juhaym ibn al-Harith, that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when a man came to him and gave him salam, what the Prophet, he needed to make tayammum. So what the Prophet did, he went to the wall, al-Ha'at, a wall, and he hit the wall with his hand and he made tayammum from it. Question, what's the wall made of during the Prophet's time? It's dirt, clay, tree, that's it. So it's not a dusty thing. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam hit it and he basically made tayammum from it. And hadith al-Bukhari wa Muslim. Also that the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told the Sahaba to do tayammum in Medina. Anybody been to Medina recently knows that أكثر المدينة سباخ. The majority of the soil of Medina is two types. Either it is mud, that's why there is good, farming there. Or the other type of soil in Medina is what? Harra, which it means volcanic rocks. It's very solid rocks. So the majority of the Medina is like that. So if the Prophet ﷺ wanted the companion only to take the sand that produced dust, he would tell him, by the way, be careful, in Medina there is so many areas you cannot use for, and Nabi never said that. He gave the order very general, and the Quran spoke very general. Also, what is the whole purpose of tayammum? To make things easy. If we say you have to have dust, yalla, solve it. It became so complicated, so hard. Can you imagine? I get this question all the time. My father, my brother, my son in the Methodist, okay, or in Clear Lake Hospital, and all of a sudden the nurses and the doctors see this ball full of sand. The people bring it. People ask me where we can find sand, Sheikh Walid. So can make it. Even I have in my office, people produced, a bag like it's made of cloth, and inside it sand. and you just hit it. But after a while, the sand will not produce any more dust. So we say that this condition that you have something to produce dust, make things complicated. And it goes against the whole idea of making tayammum easy for people. That's why the fatwa of the senior scholars in Saudi Arabia, I found it very interesting. The way they put it was very profound. They said that if you find it good, because that's will allow you to combine between all evidence, but if you can't, you just use anything. So if you are in your hospital bed, you can hit the bed, okay, and you can make the tayammum from it. Or the wall, or the floor. Floor, I wouldn't advise you. Floor of hospital is very dangerous. Okay. Let's say in your car, you can hit the seat, so it should be fine, inshallah ta'ala. Some scholar, I don't know if you need more details, but some scholar had a little bit restrictions, and they said, no, you cannot do leather, or you cannot do like curtain. They said wall, it's okay, because wall is part of earth, not the manufactured things, but I do believe, inshallah, it's all originally part of this earth and part of Sa'id al-Ard. So you are allowed to use it for tayammum, inshallah ta'ala. Next hadith. عن عمار ياسر.
قال المؤلف رحمه الله: وعن عمار بن ياسر رضي الله تعالى عنهما قال: بعثني النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في حاجة فأجنبت فلم أجد الماء فتمرغت في السعيد كما تمرغ الدابة، ثم أتيت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فذكرت له ذلك، فقال: إنما كان يكفيك أن تقول بيديك هكذا، ثم ضرب بيديه الأرض ضربة واحدة، ثم مسح الشمال على اليمين وظاهر كفيه ووجهه. متفق عليه، واللفظ لمسلم. وفي رواية للبخاري: وضرب بكفيه الأرض ونفخ فيهما ثم مسح بهما وجهه وكفيه. Narrated Ammar ibn Yasir radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam sent me on an errand. Then I became junub from seminal emission in my sleep. I did not find water, so I rolled on the soil like an animal does to perform tayammum. Then I returned to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam and mentioned that to him. He sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "It would have been sufficient for you to do with your hands this way." He then struck his hand once on the soil and then rubbed the left hand on the right and the exterior part of his palms and his face. Agreed upon, the wording is of Muslim. In a narration of Al-Bukhari, he sallallahu alayhi wasallam struck the earth with his palms of his both hands, and then blew off the dust and rubbed both of his palms over his face and hands.
This hadith, Bukhari wa Muslim wa Abi Dawood wa Nasa'i wa Ahmad, and long list of scholars have narrated this hadith and consider one of the most important hadith when it comes to the story of a tayammum. And the hadith has a story, which is in Bukhari and Muslim as well, that a man came to Umar ibn al-Khattab and he said to Umar, I had janaba, I have to take a shower, but I don't have water, either because he had a wet dream or because he had intercourse. He said, but I don't have water. Then Ammar ibn Yasir said to Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anh, Umar radiallahu anh told him, you cannot use the sand to purify yourself. You have to have water. So Umar told him, you cannot use tayammum to remove a major hadith, to remove sexual impurity. You can't do that. You have to take a shower. You have to wait until you find, even if you wait 10 years. Umar would say you wait 10 years until you pray. It doesn't matter. For him, period. You cannot do salah while you have janaba, okay, until you find a water. So when Umar said this to him, he said, no, you can't. Ammar ibn Yasir said to him, Amma tadhkur, don't you remember when we were traveling, me and you. It doesn't mean alone. Yani me and you were in the same journey. Alone with other group, it looks like with other group of people. He said, you didn't pray. As for me, I went outside and I roll over, and here's the hadith, I roll over like the animals roll over in the sand. And when we said to the Prophet ﷺ, the Prophet ﷺ told me it would have been sufficient for you to just hit the sand like this, and then Nabi ﷺ strike the ground with his two hands, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam blow his hand. Why he blow his hand? Remove anything unpleasant stuck to his hand from hitting the sand. Okay? Then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam wiped his face and his hands, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When he said this, in Sahih Muslim, Umar said, Ittaqillah ya Ammar. Ammar, fear Allah. Are you serious? Fear Allah. Are you really sure about this? Did the Prophet ﷺ did that? Did the Prophet ﷺ approve that? Or he told you that? Fear Allah, be careful. Because that's a salah, a serious issue. Then Ammar said, yes. But if you wish, I will never narrate this to anyone. قال إن شئت يا عمر لم أحدث به. If you wish, I will never narrate this anymore to anyone. I'll just stop saying it. Then Umar radiallahu anhu said, no, you can narrate it if you want. If you're sure about it, you narrate it. Because Umar radiallahu anhu ardah was so careful about the authenticity of the narrations. So people don't narrate things didn't happen, or narrate things not accurate, or narrate things from their imaginations, or from guessing. So Umar radiallahu anhu making sure that the hadith is narrated in a way that it is safe and it's accurate. And that's a very important point to learn, lesson to learn, that hadith in Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam during the companion was accurately documented, and people used to check to make sure it is correct. Nobody making mistakes in these narrations. And as for Ammar said, I can stop narrating it, not because Ammar doubt what he said. No, out of respect for Umar radiallahu anhu, because he's the Khalifa, he's in charge. And that's a very interesting point. That a lot of people, and especially in this part of the world, I found, that they don't comprehend this concept. Okay? Which is, they think that they are responsible for the whole entire religion. In another word, Ammar said, if Umar, that's what you do, and that's how you're going to lead, you're 100% sure, and this is what you do, khalas, you do it. People who follow Umar radiallahu anh, they are safe. They will not be sinful. I don't need to be the one who narrate this to them. I already delivered the message. I already told what I know. And not only Ammar knows also there's other companion talked about the tayammum. But if you want me to be quiet, I'll be quiet, alhamdulillah. I don't need to be the one who's speaking about it. If you don't want me personally not to be speaking about it, I will be happy to be quiet. In another word, Ammar didn't feel that he is al-Islam. If I don't speak, ma'na al-Islam is not going to survive. That's not true. Some people kind of feel like, khalas, if I don't talk about this, khalas, the whole religion will be lost. And he think himself like the only defender for the religion and the deen and get too excited. You don't need to get too excited about it. In another, it's a very interesting how the companions radiallahu anh have a very moderate and easy way of approaching the deen in general. Anyway, he will not be concealing the knowledge because he already delivered. He already told Umar radiallahu anh, and it became his responsibility in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And at the end of the day, we have something we are all sure about, that Allah protecting this religion? With Ammar or other than Ammar? Not Ammar Shukri. Okay, Ammar ibn Yasir. طيب. He said, I rolled in the sand. He rolled in the sand. Can anybody tell me why did he do that? Why did he roll in the sand? He want to replicate the shower. Because now you have to take a shower, and he knows that sand replacement for water. Water cover all your body. So you want the sand to basically cover us. So that's why how he can do that. He's not going to take the sand and dump it on his face. So he started rolling like the way the animals do. Okay. In Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam blew in his hand. We understood why. Then in Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam wiped his left. Basically, he used his left hand to wipe over the right hand and the back of his hand. Like this is his left. So he did like this. After he hit it, he took his left and he wiped like this. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And al-kaf, it is from your finger all the way to the end of your wrist, where your, basically your, what do you call that? Your, the forearm? Yeah, the forearm meet with your wrist. So all the way to here, basically, where my watch is. Okay, so he basically wiped like this. Then he wiped like this. Then he goes to the other side. He starts with the back of the hand, and in other narration he did the inner part as well. So, but you start with the basically the back of your hands, then you do the whole hand after that. Then he masaha wajhahu, and he wiped over his face, sallallahu alaihi wa sallam. That's what this narration said. We'll talk more about this. There is many lessons we can learn from this narration. Number one, Ibn Kathir rahimahullah has a good comment on this hadith. He said, that shows you that it was a common practice during the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. If one person knows sunnah from the Prophet ﷺ, it will be sufficient to establish the ruling. That's why Umar accepted from him what he narrated. He didn't say, I need 2, I need 3, I need 4, I need 10 people to narrate it. One is enough. So one narrator, enough to establish the ruling. And I'm saying this because we have later on in the history of Islam appear after the time of the companion. People said, no, you have to have multiple narrators in order for us to accept this narration in Aqidah or in Fiqh. But that's never was the case during the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Also, another point, Ibn Kathir rahimahullah mentioned it as well. He said that shows you that sometimes even a great scholar can be not aware of a sunnah from the Prophet ﷺ. You can imagine Umar radiallahu anh doesn't know the rules of tayammum when it comes to janaba. Tayammum when it comes to janaba, sexual impurity. Umar think that you cannot use sand for that. And he didn't know about the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Even there is multiple narrations from the Prophet ﷺ about this. But he didn't know that. Ibn Kathir rahimahullah said, so you should not be surprised to know that some scholars might miss or not aware of some of the ahadith and some of the sunan of the Prophet ﷺ. And that's very true because, subhanAllah, some people think of their sheikhs and their imams that they know everything. Once I was teaching in Rice University, I will never forget that, how the Prophet ﷺ used to pray. So I mentioned something, and there is this old man in the crowd. He's Hanafi, all his life studied according to the Hanafi scholars. So I mentioned things in the Salah, he never heard of it before in his life. So he said, I all my life studied the religion and I'm very educated in Islam, and I never heard this. And he said, this hadith reported by Abi Dawood, reported by Al-Bukhari, whatever is the case. Then he said, yeah, but it's not according to the Hanafi. Abu Hanifa never said that. I said, Yani Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, you think Abu Hanifa know all the ahadith? He said, yes. I said, so every single hadith? He said, yes. So every issue? Yes. That's impossible. Ya akhi, Umar radiallahu anhu couldn't remember all the stuff. All the sunnah. So if Umar can forget about one thing, Ahmad, Imam Ahmad or Shafi'i or Malik as well can be, not aware of some of the evidence related to the issue. So this is one thing. Umar radiallahu anhu arda used to say that at-tayammum for breaking your wudu, but not for janaba, not from sexual impurity. And he said, this is his opinion in regard to this issue. And this is never going to make Umar less, because that is ijtihad, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him for it, but he is wrong in this. And that's also another lesson from this hadith, that it doesn't matter how big the name is, but wrong is wrong, and correct is correct, and the sunnah above everybody. Because that's something sometimes very hard to process. You want to tell me that my imam is wrong? You want to tell me that my madhab is wrong? Yes. As simple as that. It could be. What's wrong with that? He is wrong by another imam, similar to him, or in the end of the day, that's why Abu Hanifa wa Malik wa Shafi Ahmed said, إِذَا جَاءَنَا الْحَدِيث فَعَلَى الْعَيْنِ وَالرَّأْسِ. When the hadith comes, it's above me and above my statement, above my opinion, everything. That's why Imam Malik rahimahullah said, if you find my opinion goes against the statement of this man, and he pointed to the Prophet ﷺ grave. He said, leave what I said for what he said. And that's something very important to keep in mind, because we have those people who are very, very extreme followers of their madhabs or opinions, or even sometimes comes in a form of groups and shuyukh, followers of certain shuyukh, that they cannot imagine that their teachers can ever be wrong. And we heard somebody said in the history, فَلَعْنَةُ رَبِّنَا أَعْدَادُ رَمْلٍ عَلَى مَنْ خَالَفَ قَوْلَهُ قَوْلَ أَبِي حَنِيفَ. May Allah curse as many as the grain of the sands on the face of this earth, the one who ever disagreed with Abu Hanifa. That's extreme. If Umar radiallahu anhu, you can disagree with him, you can disagree with that, but based on knowledge. Another issue, which is the issue that you just said, is it true that tayammum cannot remove the sexual impurity? If you have janaba, intercourse, or you had a wet dream, can you just do tayammum and be ready to prayer? The answer is yes, and that's the vast majority of the companions, the successors, and all the four madhahib, and almost ulama rahimahullah agreed upon that. And the verse in the Quran, it says, وَإِن كُنْتُمْ جُنُبًا فَطَهَّرُوا. If you have janaba, ask, basically purify yourself. But if you are sick or traveling, or you come from the al-gha'id, from the relieving yourself, أَوْ لَمَسْتُمُ النِّسَاء, or you touch woman. Umar used to say, touching woman here, it doesn't mean having intercourse. But the majority of the companions, the majority of the scholars said, no, it means you have intercourse with your wife. In this case, فَلَمْ تَجْدُوا مَاءً, you couldn't find water. What you do, you'll look for a pure area in the land, a soil, and you make tayammum in it, or from it. There is 5 authentic hadith from the Prophet ﷺ, from 5 different companions, mentioned that the person who has janaba can use tayammum to remove that janaba. Okay, and we mentioned many of them last week. As for Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, and Ibn Mas'ud, both by the way, Umar and Ibn Mas'ud, both used to believe that the person who has janaba cannot have tayammum. But to be honest with you, Shaykh al-Islam rahimahullah ta'ala and Imam al-Nawawi before him, both have looked into all the narrations that came from Umar and Ibn Mas'ud. And there is many companions debated Ibn Mas'ud. Many companions debated Umar, like what you heard with Umar. That's why Ibn Nawawi rahimahullah Ibn Taymiyyah said, actually it has been proven that Umar and Ibn Mas'ud changed their position in the end of their life. And they agreed that a tayammum will be sufficient to purify yourself from what? From both janaba. And that's why this opinion never was survived after the time of the companions. There's nobody adopted it. Maybe Nakha'i for a little bit, and that's it. But like 3rd, 4th generation, nobody ever said that. Question. You know you don't have water. You know you don't have, you're going to do tayammum. You don't have water for shower. Can a person like this still do intercourse? Can put himself in a state of janaba? And I know I don't have water. Can I still sleep with my wife? And that will lead me to be in a state where I need a shower and I will use the... Can you intentionally enter into this? As a matter of fact, you would assume Umar and Ibn Mas'ud said, no, you shouldn't put yourself because they don't believe it will purify him. But actually, the vast majority of the fuqaha said, yes, you are allowed to do that. Malik, rahimahullah, said, I dislike for a person to do that because if you have very little water or you have no water, you should not be in janab. But to be honest with you, the vast majority of the ulama said, no. Sand is a replacement for water. Do whatever you want. It's halal for you to have intercourse with your wife, so you can do it. There is no conditions or restriction for you. Go ahead, Adhan. And that's the correct opinion.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
I don't know if you noticed in the two narrations that the author of the book mentioned, one of them said, and both in Bukhari, one in Bukhari and the one in Muslim, or both actually in Bukhari, he said, in the first one, Ammar said that the Prophet ﷺ wiped his hand, then his face. And backwards in the other narrations. So which one you start with first, the hand or the face? The vast majority, rahimahullah, said, you must do tayammum in order. You must do it in order. And what's that order? You start with the face, then the two hands. Okay? Why? Because these, for many evidence. They said, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, فَامْسَحُوا بِوُجُوهِكُمْ وَأَيْدِيكُمْ مِنْ. Wipe your face and your hands. Tayammum is a replacement for wudu. That's right. And in wudu, we do the face, then the hand. So they said, so it's a replacement, take the same rule. Okay? Then they said that the narration that mentioned the face, then the hand, reported by the most accurate narrators. هي المحفوظ. Yani the narrators are the most accurate one. The second opinion said, no. The order is must, but our order is the hand, then the face. They said the hand, then the face. Why? They said because actually the majority of the narrations, don't look at how accurate one person is, but the majority of the one who narrate the hadith, actually they mentioned the hand before the face. Okay? And they said, Al-Quran said, face and hands. And anytime in Arabic language, when you say wa and, it doesn't mean order. Like for example, you know what I had today for dinner? I ate rice and shrimp. Can anybody guess which one I ate first? Does saying rice and shrimp give you an order? No. Actually, I ate them mixed, so together at the same time. Okay, so you don't. There's no. I had this and this. It doesn't tell you really which one comes first. So and doesn't put things in order. So the Quran said your face and the Hadith said that. It doesn't mean there is an order here. It means just these are the part of your body that should be white. Okay. Some other scholars said no. You know what? Actually, the order is not must. That's the third opinion. The order is not must. It doesn't matter which one you start with. You start with the face, start with the head, doesn't make a difference. And they said the proof for that Allah and the Quran used the word and, which it doesn't give you a specific order. Also, that the narrator narrated these actions in different ways. Sometimes put the face first and the hand next, and vice versa, which shows you both are okay. And also, in a different incident, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did report that he did the face first, and in other incidents, he did the hands first. So since the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did both, okay, it's okay. And if the order is must, how the Prophet ﷺ approved Ammar ibn Yasir for what he did? Ammar ibn Yasir, did he make any order? He rolled in the floor, on the ground. There is no order in this. And the Nabi said, hey, by the way, he said, no, you correct, but it will be sufficient for you to do this. From him saying, sufficient to do this, which it shows you that it is better, but it's not must. Okay? That's why I do believe saying it is a condition, it's really not a very good argument because you need a proof for that. But it is something recommended for you to do. And I do leans towards that you start with the face and the hand. Okay? And I lean more towards that as something I prefer to do, but it is permissible to do in any order. If you notice, in wudu, we have specific orders and a specific body part that we wash. In ghusl, we do the whole entire body. Tayammum is the same for janaba and for wudu. There is no difference. There's no extra things to do. One of the benefits from this hadith, you see that the Sahaba radiallahu anhum made ijtihad during the Prophet's time, while he's alive. Ijtihad, it means that they tried their best to arrive to the ruling. That's why Umar and Ammar, they did their best. They tried to figure out the answer for it during the Prophet's time. So that opened the door for ijtihad, which is people can try to find the answers for the question that they don't have an answer for it based on the knowledge that they have. Also, one of the benefits from this hadith, if the person tried his best, you should accept from that person. And it's amazing how Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did not tell Ammar ibn Yasir, what's wrong with you? Why would you act like an animal? Or to tell Ammar ibn Yasir, oh, that's not right, or you're wrong. And Nabi was very nice. He said, would it be sufficient for you to do this? You have done the sunnah and you have double reward for the other incident. You see, Nabi Sallallahu very gentle when people try their best. And even if they arrive to their own conclusion, Nabi Sallallahu very nice to them. And that's something to teach us, that when people try their best, you should not blame them, you should not reprimand them, you should not be angry at them. You should accept from them and basically correct them if you want, or guide them if you want in a nice way, as the Prophet ﷺ did. Also, you see from this hadith, you learn another lesson. When we have two different opinions, we can live with these differences. A lot of people think that we have to have just one opinion, all of us have the same opinion. That's not true. Umar radiallahu anh have a completely different position than Ammar about tayammum here. But you know what? He didn't say, Ammar, you're not allowed to tell anybody. Hey, you have to follow my opinion. I'm the leader. I'm this. And Ammar didn't say, Ya Umar, what's wrong with you? You didn't know even this simple sunnah? You see, they were respected, they respect one another, even though they disagree clearly about it. And this is not an easy thing. That's a matter of salah. That's a matter of ibadah, and the greatest ibadah in Islam. But still, they have so much respect. And you, if today, I tell you that a sheikh said what Umar said, I guarantee you will see how much people make fun of him online. And will say, oh, what kind of ignorant person is this? Because there's no adab, there's no respect, there's no good manners. And there's no mercy, and there is no acceptance to each other. So from this hadith, we learn that al-ummah will have these difference of opinions, and we should learn how to live with it. We try to follow the right thing, but if we, alhamdulillah, did, alhamdulillah, if we didn't do, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward from us and accept from us. That's why this is a fundamental rule, and this is, if you go away with this, it is as important as going away tonight with knowing the rules of at-tayammum, which is Allah لا يحاسبنا على الأمر في ذاته. Allah never hold us accountable for the action that you do, if it's in itself correct or not. Allah hold you accountable according to your abilities, to your best ability. So your best ability allowed you to reach the right conclusion or not, doesn't matter anymore. You got the reward. You basically did, you fulfilled your duty. But even if you got it wrong, it doesn't matter, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted from us. You prayed according to the best, but not just intentionally you stay ignorant. No, you try your best. That's how I learned. That's what I know. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from you. Also shows you that if the person did his best and prayed with tayammum, he doesn't need to repeat the prayer at all if he finds the water later on. That's why Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam didn't tell, for example, Ammar, hey, now you have the water, go back and pray again. He didn't tell him that. Also from this narration, sometimes it is permissible for you not to relate all the knowledge that you have if you think that the knowledge that you have can cause disturbing, can cause chaos. Not everything known can be said, and not everything can be said to everyone. You have to know when and where and how to say the knowledge that you have. Also, there is a funny statement the scholar of hadith have. They said, قال حدثني أني قلت. There is a صيغة في الأداء. He said, the narrator of the hadith was said, he told me that I said. Such as it. If the narrator said that, is that acceptable or not acceptable? If he said, he told me, I said, can we accept this type of narrations? The majority of the scholars hadith said yes, as long as the one who told him that you said is a trustworthy. Because people can forget. Like for example, maybe Dr. Arsalan will tell me, Sheikh Walid, you told me that Sheikh ibn Uthaymeen said this and that. Maybe now, I don't remember what Sheikh ibn Uthaymeen said, rahimahullah. Maybe I researched it at that time, or I heard that talk at that time and I mentioned it to him. But now, and Arsalan, Dr. Arsalan is trustworthy for me. So I can say, Dr. Arsalan told me that I said, see, goes to him back to you. I said, Sheikh ibn Uthaymeen said such and such. You see how accurate. He didn't even drop Dr. Arsalan in the middle. He didn't say, Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen said directly. No, I'll say, he said that I said to him that so-and-so said that. And that's acceptable. Here, why I'm saying this, because that's what Umar said. You know, when Ammar told him, you remember when we were the Prophet ﷺ. So Kana Ammar later, Umar Khattab later on said, Ammar said that I was there when the Prophet ﷺ approved that. Even Umar rahimahullah didn't remember that. Also it shows you that the Sahaba radiallahu anhum were very careful about how the hadith narrated. That's why Umar said, ittaqillah, or you you sure about what you just said? So that clarification system is always exists in the history of Islam when it comes to recording the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Next hadith. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, we said this is the first fa'idah. Khabar al-ahad, which is any narration or any narrator, a single narrator told us something from the Prophet and he's trustworthy, we accept what he narrated. We don't need to have multiple narrators unless you have doubt. Salik, what time is that? 8:15? 8:30. Okay, good. So you still have time. Good, next hadith.
وعن ابن عمر رضي الله تعالى عنهما قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم التيمم ضربتان ضربة للوجه وضربة لليدين رواه الدارقطني
إلى المرفقين.
وضربة لليدين فقط إلى المرفقين.
Yeah.
وضربة لليدين إلى المرفقين رواه الدارقطني وصححه أئمة وقفة. Narrated Ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Tayammum, purifying with the soil, consists of two strikings of the soil, one for the face and one for the hands up to the elbows. Reported by Ad-Daraqutni, and the Imams graded it Sahih as Mawquf, saying of a companion.
This hadith Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu ardah, as you heard him saying, Al-Imma said it is a narration from the companion, not from the Prophet ﷺ. So it's a statement from Ibn Umar, not a statement from the Prophet ﷺ. And this narration is reported by Al-Hakim wal-Bayhaqi as a statement of Ibn Umar radiallahu anh, not from the Prophet ﷺ. Because the narration that says the Prophet said has a man by the name of Ali ibn Dhabian, and I think we talked about him before. He's a very weak narrator, and all his narrations are rejected. And Al-Imam rahimahullah absolutely didn't accept this man's narrations. That's why when he said that this is a statement of the Prophet ﷺ, everybody else among the narrators who narrate the same story or the same statement said that only Ibn Umar said, it's not the Prophet ﷺ. And there is multiple companions said that when you do tayammum, you hit the ground twice, not once. You hit the ground twice. Abdullah ibn Umar said that, but also Jabir, Abu Umama, Aisha, Ammar, and several companions said that as a statement from them. No, none of them ever attributed this to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Type this narrations, what we can learn from it, or the issues in it, is very connected to the previous one. Number one is, how many times when you do tayammum you should strike the ground? We notice the Prophet ﷺ did what? Once. But Ibn Umar has said here two. So it is one or two or more. The first opinion, which is the vast majority of the Muslim scholars, said it's only one. It will be sufficient. You do like one with your hand, your palm down, and you do like this, and it will be sufficient for your face and for your hand. And that's the opinion of Ahmad wa Ishaq wa Maqhul wa Al-Awza'i wa Al-Khattabi rahimahullah said that also. Shafi'iyah and the majority of the ulama said that opinion. Many of the Shafi'iyah said, not the whole Shafi'iyah, many Shafi'iyah said that. What's their evidence? Their evidence, the hadith that we heard earlier, hadith Ammar radiallahu anhu once. Also hadith Abu Juhaym al-Harith, ibn al-Harith, the one on the wall. The Prophet hit the wall once and he made that tayammum. So, and other narrations. So the Prophet, whenever we look at the Sunnah, he only did once. The other opinion, which is the Shafi'i madhab, the Hanafi madhab, and even the Maliki madhab. And it's been narrated from several companions like Ali ibn Umar, Al-Hasan, Al-Sha'bi min al-Tabi'in. They said, no, it is two strikes. And this opinion is based on the narration of Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu, that he said that the tayammum is by two strikes. Ibn Umar, known as the one who cared so much to follow the sunnah to the max. So when Ibn Umar said that's how the sunnah is, it means somebody really copying the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, no doubt. But to be honest with you, that's still opinion of Ibn Umar. It's not the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's statement. So we cannot take his opinion over the statement of the Prophet or the action of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is a hadith that Ammar radiallahu anh said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, one strike in the ground for the face and one for the hands. But this is very weak hadith. It's in the Tabarani and is not correct opinions. Actually, Ammar bin reported that he did once, and this is in Sahih Bukhari and Muslim. You will have even ulama say, one of the things that they said, you do it twice because you take new water for it. So you do 2 times. Even Ibn Sirin said 3 times. Okay? One for the back of your hand, and one for inside the hand, and one for the face. One for the palm, one for the back of the hand, one for the face. And that's Ibn Sirin, rahimahullah, said that, but it is, as the Shawkani said, nobody knows what's the proof for that. And it's rejected opinion. What strong opinion, one is sufficient. One is sufficient, is you strike your hand 1 time, because that's what came in the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Even though we see some great companion did 2. So if maybe they did for a reason, maybe they have a reason for him to do that. And if somebody did 2, and he's a Shafi'i or Hanafi and he did 2, it is okay. It's not haram, his tayammum is still acceptable. But as sufficient as 1 strike is sufficient to do your hands, then you do your face. You do your face, then you do your hand. Or vice versa, so it's not a big problem. طيب. Question. When I do my hand, do I just do the hand from, like what I said earlier, from the toe, from the fingers to basically to the forearm, just to the wrist? Or should I go more? Okay? The majority of the scholars, rahimahullah, said you only do the hands, this part. Okay? And that's among the tabi'een, Makhul, Awza'i, and Ishaq, and Imam Ahmad, rahimahullah. The majority of Ahl al-Hadith said that's the only part of your hand that you do in tayammum, like this. Okay? Why? Because that's Ammar radiallahu anh, and the one who had the story happen to him, he said, and he did, and he used to make tayammum by doing this only. He, the one who narrated the story, or the story happened to him, and he narrated the hadith himself to us. But the majority of the fuqaha, the Shafi'i, the Hanafi, the Maliki, and some of the Sahaba even reported, they said when you make tayammum, you go all the way to the elbow. Can anybody tell me why? Why would they say that? Because they said it's a replacement for wudu. Okay? So it will take the same rules of the wudu. Also they said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, aydikum, your hands. And in the wudu, your hands go from here all the way to here. So same tayammum comes also from here to there. Yes, hand is a word, can be referring to this part of your hand, and could refer from here to your elbow, and could refer from here all the way to here, to your armpit. All this called hand in Arabic language. All this called hand in Arabic language. This only called hand in Arabic language. Yad. So, Al-Quran, if he said in wudu, hands, we understood that hands in the Quran, when it comes to wudu, from here to here, how did we figure that that's what is meant? By the actions of the Prophet. How did he do wudu? That's right. So when it comes to tayammum, why would we go backwards? You know, we should say the same question. When the verse said in tayammum, your hands, how would we know it is from here to here, or from here to here, or from here to here? What do we need to do? We go look at how the Prophet ﷺ did tayammum. And we see that in the Nabi never been reported that he ever went all the way to the elbow in tayammum. He only did this part. That's why the Hanabila are very strong argument. And their opinion is the strongest opinion, in my opinion, in this area. So that's why I do believe that tayammum is only to here. And believe it or not, there is even some ulama rahimahumullah said all the way to here, to the underarm. And the Zuhri, for example, been said that he said that. Okay? And Al-Mawardi from the Shafi'iyya mentioned that. But I don't know if that's Zuhri would ever say that. But I'm telling you how people can take the linguistic meaning of the hand literally all the way to the end of your hands, all the way to the underarm. And that's wrong. And that's why I do believe that the sunnah is just to do your hands on tayammum, okay? And both the back and the palm from inside. You do like those, okay? And it's sufficient. One time, you do your face, then you do your hand, and that's it. And you go pray. If you see somebody do it all the way to the elbow, he's Hanafi or he's Shafi or he's Maliki, don't be too angry or don't be like too excited and said you're wrong, that's bid'ah. No, you know, some of the Sahaba radiallahu anhu did that. There's a very strong, big khilaf between the scholars. So we should accept these differences as we learn from the incident of Umar ibn Khattab and Ammar ibn Yasir radiallahu anhum jami'an. So now you know how easy tayammum is, and you know how to do it, and you know what are the rules in relation to it. We'll stop here, inshallah, and we'll leave the floor open for questions if somebody has questions, inshallah. Yeah, kaffe. In one of the narrations, very specific, he said his kaff, which is only the hand, which it doesn't include the forearm, it doesn't include the elbow, it doesn't include anything like that. Yeah. When the doctor asks you to break one of the rules of Islam, hey, don't pray standing, don't make wudu, don't fast, any rules in Islam, he asks you to break it. When the doctor Islamically is allowed to say that, in the following situation: number one, if doing this action will cause a permanent damage, or it will cause that part of your body will not function in a normal way, okay? Or it will delay your healing. That's something you missed. It will delay your healing. Or it will cause a pain that's unbearable, or something that gets you severe pain. Okay, in this case, like let's say if you get dehydrated for fasting and you have a stone or something, maybe it's very severe pain. Or back pain to stand up, pray, or make sujood, or make. You can imagine Arafat, we tell him, hey, you have to make sujood. You know, it's hard for him to do. It's because of his knees. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him shifa and afiyah and all the sick ones. So these are the situations where a doctor, does he need to be a Muslim doctor? In the old books of fiqh, they said yes. Why? Because they said because Muslim doctors understand the value of the Islamic rules. Okay, the value of the Islamic rules. And that's why they would respect that. In my opinion today, it doesn't need to be a Muslim doctor or a non-Muslim doctor. It has to be a doctor who respects religion. A doctor who understands the value, because some doctors, even Muslim, they have no respect for religion. There is Dr. Muslim by name, but they have no respect for deen at all, for anything. It's just a bunch of like rituals, like nonsense. Some of them will not have any respect. So that's why I would say, make sure that to talk to some non-Muslim doctor will be very careful. He understands, he values, he respects your religion, he respects what that means to you as a Muslim. So if you found someone, even if he's not Muslim, in my opinion, it is acceptable. So the condition that was put in the old books of fiqh that he must be a Muslim is not, there's no proof for that. But the point behind it is a valid point, which is the respect of religion and someone understand the value of the religion. Yes. Okay. Fella. Yeah, he said, thalj, it's water. How can you do from ice? There is a debate over the ice, but I think what they meant is an ice floor. Let's say sometimes the iced floor, like the ice road, you can't really do, maybe you can't break it or something like that. But the snow, you can make wudu with the snow. You can make wudu with the ice because it's a water if you do that. But when some of the fuqaha mention thalj, I think that's what they meant, like an ice thing that's so solid, it became like you can't even break it. It will not melt. It will not produce any liquid in it. But I do believe that if you take a snow, and I did this once, take the snow and you just put it, or an ice cube, and you make that on you, I'll be a very nice wudu. I took something called glacier shower. I don't know if anybody knows what that means. A glacier shower, I never knew that this even exists. A glacier shower is actually a shower head, but it doesn't have a hole that allowed water to drop. Actually drop pieces of ice on you. It's just like, you know, in the fridge you have a crushed ice? You guys have that in the fridge? Some fridges have like water and crushed ice. And ice cube. It's a crushed ice. You turn on and it comes like on you, like a crushed, you know, ice. I did that in Jeddah, first time in my life. And I got sick for 2 days. And I'll never do it again. I'll never advise you to do it. I don't know. Ask your doctor. But it was like an unbelievable experience. You know, I actually did in Sweden. I was in Sweden and I told the brothers in Sweden, I would like to do something very Swedish. You know, when I say Swedish, like I always think sometimes of, you know, raspberries, because Swedish are known of sweets. You know, especially these a lot of raspberries. Even they cook meat with raspberries. There's very, you know, berries is a big thing for Sweden. And the second thing is Swedish massage. That's the only thing I can think of. You know, Swedish, that's the only thing. And cars, yeah, they have some good cars. So I said, what culture? He said, okay, I'll take you. So we went to a place, we rented our own kind of sauna. And then after that, I didn't know yet. So after you finish, you get out. And there's behind the sauna place is an ice lake. And in the ice lake, they just have an opening. And there's a ladder, and you jump in. So can you imagine that? It was in November or something like that. It's crazy, and I don't like cold water. But anyway, I can't chicken out at that point, you know? I have to, in front of my students, or like in the, like 10, 15 guys, and I just jumped in the water. It's iced water. Never in my life never imagine my life I'll do that. But believe it or not, that glacier shower is worse 1,000,000 times than that frozen lake. So, yeah, that's when you can do tayammum instead of water. Anyway, but the point is snow, yes, you can use snow or ice for wudu if there is no water, or you can wait until you melt the ice, if you can, yes. He said, some people said, I cannot leave what's the madhab said because the madhab has principles. And if you move away from this, you will be logically inconsistent. Yes, and one of the most important principles in any madhab is to follow the evidence. Follow the evidence. And when people say that, I doubt that those people are have a real depth into the madhab. Because based on this, the person who says that, kind of understanding that the madhab has only one opinion. But any madhab has multiple opinions inside the madhab. Yani in the Shafi'i you will find two opinions contradict each other. One said allowed, one said not allowed. In the Hanafi, one said allowed, one said not allowed. In the Hanbali, one said this, one said that. In the Maliki, said, so that means inside the madhab you see there is a differences. There's disagreement. They differ over issues. Madhab doesn't mean one opinion. Any madhab has multiple positions. And why these multiple positions? Because the main principle on any madhab is to follow the proof, follow the dalil. But the problem is, if you make a principle that is not from the Quran and Sunnah, then you start judging the Quran and Sunnah according to this principle. It is your own principle. That will be wrong. And that's where basically we said that kind of madhabiyya is absolutely unacceptable. Because you make your own rules. That's why, for example, when Ad-Dabusi said that any hadith goes against the opinion of our Imam, this hadith blindly you can say weak hadith. Or it can be twisted. That's a bad rule. No, simply if this is authentic, that's an opinion. The Imam didn't know about it, he wasn't aware of it. Because the Imam can make a principle or can arrive to a conclusion. The fiqh is not based only on dalil, can be based on ta'leel, reasoning. And when you do the reasoning, when you don't have a text, when you don't have enough evidence to establish it. But if you later on find out there is evidence to establish the issue, it's a consistent. Yeah. Allahu A'lam. Okay, well, inshallah, end here. For those who join us today, first of all, I'm glad that we had a good turnout today, alhamdulillah, with the program for the kids. I have a few minutes to say. We discussed the issue of Halloween, and if we should do something for the kids during the Halloween time, so the kids feel not left out. Sometimes, especially those who have those kids in public schools, or like have a lot of friends in neighborhood and stuff like that, they feel so left out that they don't have any fun today, anything to celebrate, to have fun basically. For people, for kids today, Halloween is just a matter of cool costume, clothes and candies and stuff like that. And it became very hard for the kids to see everybody having this amount of fun, and you tell them, inshallah, and eat. It just, in my opinion, is you still need to tell them about Eid, the importance of Eid, but also we can maybe find some alternatives if it's possible. Not every year we can have alternatives, but you make sure that the kids have also good time, so they don't hate Islam, they don't hate the rules, because kids will not process this. Will process this way: Islam not allowed us to have fun. That's how kids will see it. As simple as that. They're not going to process satanic worshiper, blah, blah, blah. They understand that. The kids is having like fun, and I'm not having fun because I'm Muslim. So that's a very bad conclusion. And it doesn't go away by just talking. But sometimes by creating halal alternatives. Like, hey, we can come together, have fun, have a good day. We're not doing this as a form of ritual or anything like that. We are doing this because our kids are under tremendous amount of pressures by the society around them. In my school, my daughter today, Serene, every kid come with their costume clothes. She's in public school, 2nd grade. So it's kind of interesting. Then they don't tell them Halloween, because they said, pick a story and a character of a story, and you dress like that story. Okay? So my daughter today, she picked a book it's called, in her own, got it from the school library. It's called Assalamu Alaikum. It's in the school library. And it's about, a Muslim student said Assalamu Alaikum, what Assalamu Alaikum means, stuff like that. It's actually in the library. And so she wore hijab. She doesn't wear hijab. She wore hijab, and she went to her costume clothes today. It's the hijab. And she was telling me she had a lot of fun. A lot of people have a lot of respect and stuff like that for that. For her and for everybody there, it's just a matter of having fun, having a good time. Not I'm going to say, oh, you can't wear a costume because you're celebrating Halloween. You don't celebrate Halloween. Same thing, like I said, if somebody come to your door on Halloween and ask for a treat, You didn't need to give them da'wah about Islam. Actually, one of the worst time to give da'wah about Islam is somebody knocking your door saying, give me candy, and you give him a lecture. You know, I'm not here to listen lecture from you. Oh, this is Satan worshiper, this is, you know, you can't do that. You just simply say, thank you, Zak. If you have candy, you can give them. Is giving them is some form of celebration? I never accepted that concept. I don't accept that it's a form of celebration. Giving them a candy or something like that, it's just being generous for people who come to you. Just a candy. It's not you celebrating it or you have some practice for it. Halloween is still celebrated by a lot of satanic worshippers. Because some people said, Sheikh, it's not any more satanic worship. That's not true. And I had this conversation with my daughter yesterday, and she was telling me, and I did a little bit of research. That's why I slept very late, like almost 2 a.m. And it is like, it's amazing. The amount of people who worship devil, they do a lot of ritual in this night. Unbelievable. Big gathering and big celebrations and big rituals, stuff that they do. So Halloween is still, until today, revival by a lot of people, unfortunately, as something very satanic kind of day. And that's where this originally is made of. So I have a very moderate way in it, and I believe that there's, alhamdulillah, I believe that's a very moderate way. I'm not very strict about like the issue of giving candy to kids when they come to you, or I don't think there's any form of celebrations. As well, if somebody said happy Halloween, okay, you know, it's just celebration. It means you do certain ritual with the intention of it as a ritual. You know, in the majority of people really don't do that outside in the public. Can we put costumes and we go outside and we let the kids have fun and stuff like that? The reason I'm a little bit hesitant about that, I wouldn't say it's haram. I can't even say it's haram. But I wouldn't agree on that. I wouldn't encourage that. Because one of the things that the Sharia wants as well, us to keep in mind, that to make it distinguish, you know, between the way the identity of the Muslim is, and also to make it distinguish between the Eid, where the extra fun have, and the other days in the year. And that's something meant for itself, because if you have too many days to celebrate during the year, the Eid of the Muslimin will have no value anymore. Become like any other day. But when you have very special day that everything kind of different, you know, setup and different arrangement for it, it became a special day. And that's why I cannot emphasize enough in the importance of making Eid a big fun for the family. Make sure that your Eid is a big fun for the family. My kids, when they say, oh, I'm going to get this gift, like one of them, for example, I want a big car. So I'm going to get it on my birthday. I said, no, you get it in Eid. See, that's a mindset. Because the mindset is, my birthday is the day where I get the big gifts. While I want to switch that in their mind and say, your biggest gift is not on your birthday. The most important Eid is not the day you're born. Is the Eid al-Adha, is Eid al-Fitr. That's formulating the mindset of the kids. Reaffirming or reshaping it. It's important for us to do that, in my opinion. Especially here in America or the Western world, or in the world in general today, where basically the Eid losing its value by the day because we're busy working in that day or whatever. So I'm glad that we did it today, alhamdulillah, and I'm glad that you guys are here, and I hope your kids have fun. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. By the way, don't forget to vote. Those who voted and text messaged me and said, I voted, thank you. Vote, 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 vote as much as you can. Don't vote multiple times, but. Oh, what time is going to be Isha? Azad, what time next week is going to be Maghrib and Isha?